And of course, the difference when it comes to the Philippine approach now to China under this administration is like night and day, compared to the previous administration. I think that's quite clear, no?
Yeah, well, it's probably true, but perhaps the previous administration looked at appeasement as a way of being able to peacefully try to talk about it, but I guess it didn't work because the more the aggression took place, and now they truly believe that, especially in the Thomas Shoal, they you can see that they really believe that it's theirs and that they now control the area and that we have to ask permission, which is totally unacceptable.
Now, in terms of that appeasement na binabanggit niyo po, no, how big a setback was that? Because right now, from where I'm sitting, I'm seeing what the administration of President Marcos is doing now as some sort of a course correction para itinutuwid yung ano no, yung paglalayag, so to speak, to use that metaphor. But how much of that appeasement policy of the previous administration is somehow putting a burden on the current approach now?
If we look at history, appeasement with any kind of leadership that believes that it has a mission, like what happened in Europe in World War II, and even to a certain extent in our region during World War II. Appeasing is not really going to work. When one has really is determined to try to dominate an area, the only way is to really push back. So I think we have to really look back at history. But unfortunately, history hopefully will not repeat itself because this time around, we know what the consequences are. If there's any major conflict that happens, we may really just say that it's the end of the world because of the kind of weaponry that is now available to many countries, especially the superpowers.
Right now, Ambassador, how would you describe the Marcos administration's policy or approach toward this specific China issue dito sa West Philippine Sea?
I think it is doing exactly what any government should do, and that is their main job, so to speak, is to make sure that we protect our territorial integrity. It's in our constitution, so that if for some reason any leader makes a deal in almost giving away anything, that is actually a crime. It's a crime against our people, and it's something that he was sworn to do and protect our country. So it is a duty. He must to continue to do what he's doing right now, which is the right thing to do.
You mentioned kanina, Ambassador, na China is probably testing our relationship with the United States. Matagal na itong relationship na to. Of course, you have the 1951 Mutual Defense Treaty. Pero how are we performing in terms of this test? Ibig sabihin, the United States, you've been hearing consistently yung ironclad support. Pero how exactly is that being translated pagdating dito sa girian sa mismong West Philippine Sea?
Nakikita natin na talagang ang Estados Unidos ay talagang kasama natin dito dahil it's also in their interest. Alam nila na the Philippines plays a major role. We are part of that geopolitical situation, and we are geographically located in one of the most important real estate, as was mentioned by the former US president. So it's important for them. At the same time, obviously, we want to take advantage of that 1951 Mutual Defense Treaty, which we've had for so many years, precisely as an offshoot of what happened during World War II. We are definitely going to invoke that if we need to, because we need a country like the United States, a major ally, and other allies as well. As you can see, that the administration of President Marcos is reaching out to other countries, and a lot of other countries are supporting us on this one, on this effort to push back on the kind of aggressive behavior that China is doing to us.
And I think especially given what with what happened more recently, no, mas maraming mga bansang nagbigay ng kanilang expressions of support and condemnation. Yung sinasabi niyo ano, for instance, yung support ng United States, no. They agree na so far since we have this MDT, it's been serving as a deterrent for to prevent things from worsening dyan sa West Philippine Sea.
Yes, definitely. Alam mo yung MDT na yan is really something that from if we look back at what happened in the 1950s, actually after the war in 1945, 1946, Our treaty with the United States was born out of the fact that we worked together, or we fought together, as a matter of fact, during World War II. And it was incumbent upon the administration then, in 1947, 48, and leading up to 1951, where we signed the Mutual Defense Treaty. And remember, there was also the Korean War, which was also an aggressive behavior that was taking place at that time. So we needed to have a strong ally to be able to work with them, as we did in World War II. So, yung sinasabi ng mga tao na nandiyan na naman tayo, parang we're trying to be subservient to the United States, hindi naman totoo yan. The fact of the matter is, the US has always played a major role in our country since time immemorial. And there's nothing wrong with it, as long as we continue to exercise our sovereign rights and our sovereignty. We have shown that on many occasions. We've had disagreements with the United States on many, many occasions. But at the end of the day, makasama pa rin tayo. And I think that hindi natin pwedeng i-undo what has already happened in the past, in the sense that talagang ang tie-up natin sa US is very strong. Pero at the same time, we're also reaching out to many countries as well. This administration, President Marcos, I can tell you, has never had so much aggressive moves towards reaching out to all countries all over the world, including China. We have tried on many occasions. I think President Marcos, when he went in January for the state visit, he had a very frank discussion with President Xi. Nagka-areglo na sila, na mag-uusap sila kung mayroong mga tensyon dyan sa ating region. Wala naman nangyari doon. And then, alam natin na we were not really very optimistic yung gumawa tayo ng bilateral meeting with President Xi sa San Francisco not too long ago, just a month ago, when President Marcos attended the APEC. And ganun pa rin. Ngayon, parang medyo dismissive nga si President Xi, so medyo nawalan tayo ng gana sa kanya na tingin. No? So I think history will bear out that we've done what we could to find ways and means to have a peaceful resolution. Pero just the same, ganun pa rin ang ginagawa natin. We're reaching out to China and to other countries that can try to convince China that this is not the way to go. All countries know that kung tama I always believe that right is might, and might is not right. And it will, in the end, that is what's going to happen. Again, going back to what happened in World War II.
Okay. In terms of options, no? Kasi marami rin tayong mga kababayan po na medyo naiinip na, no? Parang sinasabi nila. Of course, you file diplomatic protests, kailangan talaga, and it's very important. But in terms of options to somehow siguro be more effective in terms of at least making China think twice before harassing our fishermen, our vessels, what options are still available to us? What other options?
Well, Christian, unfortunately, I'm not at liberty to say exactly what are the options that are available to us. We do have quite a number of options available to us now, especially with our allies, specifically the United States, Japan, Australia, and other countries as well. Pero one thing I can tell you, that we have moved forward from where we were. This time around, we are making clear to the Chinese that we are not going to give away any of our territory. Now, that message has to be continuous. We have to be relentless in that, and we have to be clear and what you call this, making sure that they understand that we are not going to move or budge an inch.